Hello everyone, and welcome back. I hope you brought your oven mitts, because we're going to dive right into the stupid with part 2 in the Arguments from Assertion series. If you haven't seen part 1, I recommend watching it first, because this one starts out right where I cut the last one. So, with that being said, let's get to it.
You should see the stars do all sorts of strange motions, but you don't. You only see them make these perfect circles. That tells me that it's the stars that are moving, not the Earth.
Yeah, because it's not like we wouldn't observe that exact same thing on a rotating globe or anything. Flat Earthers will tell you that the star paths prove a flat Earth and that we would see something different on a globe. But they can't tell you why we would see something different or what we would see. All they can say is, you wouldn't see that.
The Copernicus principle, the one that we live by, is that we're insignificant, we mean nothing, we're a speck in the universe. That's the heliocentric model, that we go around the sun. The geocentric model means that everything goes around us. That's what this is in the Bible. That's what the first astronomers were saying. Ptolemy was the first one to say, yeah, we are the center. You can tell based on these observations, everything's revolving around us.
We are an insignificant speck in the universe, and we don't matter as far as the universe is concerned. We give our lives meaning by our actions. Live your life as a decent person, and you'll probably matter to some of the people you meet and have an effect on. I don't understand this need that flat earthers and religious people have, where they feel like they have to be the center of attention and like they need to be special. It says the earth is flat in the Bible. Who cares? The Bible is wrong. Hell, the Bible was written by people who didn't know the difference between birds and bats. Ptolemy and the early philosophers said the earth was flat. So what? They were wrong. And the fact is shown over and over again. These people, for some reason, think that those that agree with them are infallible and can't possibly be wrong about anything.
Earth is the center of the universe, and we stand still, and the universe spins around us.
Hey, look, another quote mine.
You know what? They've lied so much. NASA's lied so goddamn much that I don't believe shit
I see they've got that satellite image of that frozen moon. What's that frozen moon?
Oh, let me see if that's CGI. Find that They got a picture of a frozen fucking moon? I guarantee you it's CGI. No way they could take a picture.
I talked about the whole NASA lies accusation in part 1, why the accusation is bullshit, and how flat earthers make the claim but can't seem to back it up with any evidence. Here's another problem with flat earthers, is that they call every picture and video CGI right off the bat, and they have a preconceived idea before even looking at it. The evidence is dismissed automatically with no reason other than it shows that they are wrong. And most don't even know the difference between CGI and a composite photo.
The heliocentric model is in trouble. Watch as the sunlight shrinks and follows the sun. It's definitely a locally illuminating sun, not far away, not very big, and definitely not 93 million miles away.
The sun doesn't shrink in size. Get a camera and get a good solar filter. Go set up your camera and film the sun starting at sunrise and ending at sunset. You'll see that the size of the sun doesn't change at all. Don't touch the zoom on your camera either. This can only happen on a globe. On a flat Earth, as the sun goes away from you, it will appear to shrink off in the distance because it would be moving. We don't see that. Instead, we see the sun remain the same size throughout the day as it appears and disappears over the horizon. That happens because the sun hasn't moved, but the Earth is simply rotating. This video from the plane also shows that we live on a globe. The sun is either rising or setting from the plane's vantage point. It is going over the horizon, and the clouds are between the plane and the horizon. If the sun were that low in altitude, why has no plane ever hit it or even come close to it? They don't make flight paths to avoid flying into the sun. Ooh, crepuscular rays. That's cool. You know what that's evidence of? Moisture in the atmosphere. All those clips showed is that there's moisture in the atmosphere. That last clip, where the sun looks like it's moving in a straight line, doesn't match what we see every day. Like I said earlier, go back and watch the sun. You will see that it doesn't shrink and that it doesn't move in a straight line.
There's a place in Bolivia called Salar de Uyuni, which is a salt flat. It's literally 100 miles wide one way and 80 miles across. And it's perfectly flat. And when it rains, literally you get an inch of water and it looks like a perfect mirror. Now, how does that happen on a sphere? Yeah, it shows you that, you know, if you're one end of this salt flat, you can see perfectly clearly the other end 100 miles away. So it's just showing you that, you know, the Earth is flat, and without the effect of the waves in the sea, you'll be able to see a whole lot further.
You know why we can see objects on the other side of the flats? Because the objects are fucking mountains! This is the peak of Tanupa from 45 kilometers. On either side of the peak, you can see a bit of a valley and a little dip before another hill. Keep an eye on those as we move away from the mountain. This is from 59 kilometers. See the valleys starting to disappear from the bottom? This is from 66 kilometers. This is from 73 kilometers. And this one is from 83 kilometers. See the valley on the right is gone, and you can barely see the top of that hill? The valley on the left is almost gone, and this is exactly what we would see on a globe Earth. Things disappearing from bottom up. Also, if you notice, my pictures were taken during the dry season, so there's no mirroring effect and almost no moisture. Whenever a flat earther shows long shots of these salt flats, they show them covered in water, and the flats are basically like a giant mirror. When you have light and objects reflecting off the water and moisture in the atmosphere, you get refraction, which will let you see objects over the curve in what is essentially a mirage effect. They do this to deceive the audience because it's the only way that they can make it fit into their narrative.
Took a picture across the Great Lakes from Michigan and was able to see, I believe, Chicago, which he shouldn't have been able to see. And the television station basically said it was a mirage.
I found this photo, Randmere State Park. This is from Joshua Nowicki, and what you're seeing here is a mirage. We typically would not be able to see this from the Lake Michigan shore. We talked about this last night. Conditions are right on the lake that we're actually seeing a mirage of the Chicago skyline.
Warning, bullshit alert!
First, let's look at this picture. You can only see the tops of the buildings. Where are all the street lights? If you've ever been to Chicago and along the lake, you know that there's a ton of stuff there, and at dusk and night it's lit up brighter than the buildings. We don't see any of that. Here's another photo Nowicki took. This one is from a dune overlook at Wecco Beach in Bridgman, Michigan, 52 miles from Chicago. See the mirroring effect near the horizon? Only the tops of the buildings are visible, and how the buildings are slightly distorted. But according to flat earthers, that's not a mirage. I ask again, where is street level? Here's another thing. The newscaster said this would be possible the night before because of atmospheric conditions. If the Earth was flat, this wouldn't be newsworthy because we'd be able to see it every time the lake is clear, and we wouldn't need special conditions to create the effect.
Very interesting here. Here's what's happening. This is a good example of a superior mirage. So Joshua was on the Lake Michigan shore. He was looking towards the west, and Chicago's beyond the horizon. Should not be able to see it. However, with the right conditions, we have an inversion. We have cold air near the cold lake water and some relatively warmer air above it. This will bend the image of that skyline back towards the viewer. And so typically we would not be able to see this. This image would be viewable from much, much higher in the sky.
So the newscaster even explains what a superior mirage is. He's even got a nice little diagram. Flat earthers just call bullshit, but give no reason as to why and offer no evidence or explanation to debunk the superior mirage.
They always say it's a mirage, but for a mirage to happen, you have to have very specific atmospheric conditions. It's not a mirage, it's simply that you're looking across a plane.
Well, considering the newscaster explained why and how this is a mirage, covered it the night before, and said that conditions would be right to see a mirage, that's the beauty of science. It has predictive capabilities, just like it was predicted that certain conditions would be right to create the mirage effect. Another fun little tidbit, the highest point of Grand Mirror, where this picture was taken, is 811 feet above sea level. The lake is 577 feet above sea level, so the picture was taken somewhere within that 234-foot difference. Elevated camera position plus the right atmospheric conditions equal Chicago skyline.
Now, how come in all these ball pictures, man, you can see all the continents pretty much, and there's just a little bit of clouds here and there. Man, it's like some of these pictures, like there's some where they show the Earth at night, and you can see all the lights and stuff. It's like, you're telling me the entire continent didn't have clouds? The entire fucking continent, like, you can see Africa and all these lights and all this stuff, like, if you turn on your porch light, I guess you can see it from space, apparently. And it's like there's no clouds in some of these pictures.
I love how the idiot in this clip says that the pictures we see of Earth show all the continents, but then they show pictures that you can only see two, maybe a piece of a third. This is also a claim I hear from flat earthers, but for some reason they never ever produce one of these photos. Funny how that works, isn't it? As for the cloud cover in the nighttime, there are many different types of cameras on satellites and the ISS. The nighttime videos, like shown here, are taken by infrared or radar cameras with active sensors, and sometimes they use infrared and radar in tandem with each other. The cameras are angled so they see in a 0 to 30 degree range. Looking right through the clouds is no problem and not an issue.
And they spelled out the word sex, right, recently, probably a few months ago, in one of the clouds.
But, if they do their research, they say, well, those are composites. And I said, well, how come they copy and paste the clouds on some of these? And they use the same cloud form. Like, if you're going to make a composite, but you shouldn't be copying and pasting clouds. That means you're adding stuff that's not real.
Yeah, and the thing is, those pictures that you're talking about, the blue marble pictures, I think there's about maybe 8 to 10 of them over time that NASA has put out, and you're absolutely right. None of those pictures look the same. The color of the water is different. Like you said, the continents are different sizes. It's just unbelievable. And I think what happened originally was they would put these things out and nobody was paying any attention to it. And then all of a sudden now, people are paying attention to it, and now they're pulling these pictures in, and it's an obvious fraud.
What?
And the thing is, there's supposedly tens of thousands of satellites orbiting Earth.
I'll get into the sex clouds in a minute, but first let's get into this business about the photoshopped clouds and why the pictures look different. So, the photoshopped clouds were discussed in my last video where the 2002 blue marble picture was brought up, and I talked about the processes used to make the picture out of 10,000 photos of land and 200 photos of cloud cover. The reason these 8 pictures of Earth look different is simple. They were taken with different cameras at different distances, and yes, some were even put through Photoshop to enhance color. It's really not a hard concept. As for seeing things like the lion head in the clouds, there's a thing called Pareidolia. I have a link about it down in the description. Basically, it's the phenomenon of when people see images and things like clouds, and there's also an audio version of Pareidolia as well. Now, onto the sex cloud. It's a legit photo. The original image was cropped and flipped upside down and only appears on Flat Earth websites and a Reddit post. If you look at the clouds, that is the Baja region of Mexico. The peninsula should face south, not north. This photo was shown to be legit live on an episode of the NonSequitor Show by a visual effects artist. Check it out. I've got a link to the full show in the description.
I've sent a very high-res photo to Dave. And, I mean, honestly, it looks like somebody took this image and cropped it and flipped it in order to make it say sex.
Upside down. Oh, wait, I found the original high-res image. Oh, dope. Okay. Okay, so did you get that photo forensics thing working? We can take a look at the images side by side so we can show you how this works.
I think
I
think I could just put the result in here instead of, because they won't let me do it. But there's the result.
Oh, there you go. There you go. There you go. So this is an ELA scan, and what this shows you is if you see the ring, which we know is artificial, you can see how it's highlighted against the background noise of the original image. Does that make sense?
And look at that.
But,
no sex popping out at us.
Yeah, but you don't see a highlight where it says sex where the resampling was changed. Does that make sense? So if you take the, how do I get the chat back in this?
Click the
here we go.
the message box.
Okay, so I'm sending you right now the original high-res image. So that's from a NASA website.
Okay.
So, and I'll pull it up on my end too.
You want me to do photo forensics?
Wotan, what do you have to say to that about that?
Well, the clouds are all the same color, so you're not going to see a difference in the color because it's all the same color.
Yeah, I guess I didn't explain how ELA scans work very well, so I'm sorry, guys. If you put in the high-res image, you'll see an actual really good example of what an authentic photo looks like in an ELA scan.
Can you just bottom line it for him? It busts your argument, Wotan.
Yeah, I don't think I can explain in any way that would be useful for this conversation. I guess I can explain to the audience.
Well,
would you like me to
Nick,
do that?
I mean, the color of whatever is not going to matter.
No, the color.
Like, it doesn't matter.
No, so the color doesn't necessarily represent much of any data. It's actually just the error threshold. So that's what we want to look at. So this is an image. This is an ELA scan of an authentic image where the color and the ELA, like the error information, is fairly uniform, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for discontinuities in the way that the image is compressed, because that indicates to us that an image from an alternative source was composited into this image, and then that image was changed fundamentally. So if you show these photos side by side, we get a perfect example. This is the source photo of the photo that Wotan provided, which we found online on NASA's website that they provided to the public, and we can show concretely how this algorithm determines what is artificial in a photograph, because we saw the circle that was provided to us by Photoshop. But now we see that same source photo, and there's no circle, and there's also a uniform noise on the Earth.
Look what it does to the stars too. That's kind of cool how that program does. It'll bring out the.
It brings out a lot of information. You
really can't see them like that.
And that goes back to the example of the blues, the shades of blue. It's like the computer sees there's a difference there, but the human eye doesn't see that. So we're peering into the photograph in a way that the human eye cannot do. So this is a perfect example of how, like, we just did the methodology that I've been trying to communicate to.
So there you go. Legit photograph. Sorry for the long clip, but it needed to be shown properly. Now moving on.
We can't get any close-ups of Earth. We can't get a view of Australia with the buildings upside down.
Well, that clip just showed close-ups of the Earth. As for the dumbass Australia question, I got one for you. Why can't we get photos of the US with the buildings right side up? I love how flat earthers think that the space agencies need to cater to them and their demands. To hell with the science and what everyone else is satisfied with. Let's just cater to a bunch of conspiracy nuts. That's what billions of dollars should be spent doing. Quite frankly, why should they? Flat earthers just bitch and demand certain photo or video evidence. A photo or video comes out that meets what they want to see. Then they do what do flat earthers do? They automatically cry fake and CGI, then shift the goalpost and demand something else, rinse and repeat. All because what is provided fucks up their narrative, and like any good cult follower, they can't accept the fact that they might be wrong and have been misled by lying con artists like the person who made this video and the people who made the clips that he uses. Citation needed. And you can see satellites and track them for yourself. The statement that satellites don't exist is incredibly false, but no flat earther will track one or look up and watch for one or the ISS as they go overhead. Like I said, can't take the chance of being wrong, so what do? Just deny, 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 deny.
And they'll look at you like you're crazy. But really, you're the sane one for asking real questions. They're the fucking idiots for just repeating schoolbook bullshit. That's how it works. I was taught schoolbook bullshit in public school, and somehow I was able to break free and free my mind. You know how I did it? I watched NASA rockets explode a bunch of times. Fly off sideways and not go to space.
If you watch the trajectory of the space shuttle, it doesn't go straight up. It always goes in a curve and out to sea.
Why rockets are launched at an angle is simple. They do what's called a gravity turn. Now, it's no wonder flat earthers don't understand this. They deny damn near every part of this practice. The Earth rotates at 107,000 kilometers per hour in an eastward direction. Flat earthers deny that. As it does, it pulls our atmosphere along with it. They deny that too. Rockets do a gravity turn. They also deny gravity, in order to get a boost from the momentum of the Earth's rotation and atmosphere. Of course, flat earthers don't understand this concept. What would you expect from people who deny the reason why shit falls to the ground? Oh, and the reason they're launched over water or in bumfuck Kazakhstan is because they do explode from time to time, and it's better to explode over water or an unpopulated area than over a populated area where you'll have falling debris that can kill, injure, or cause property damage. But hey, let's launch over major cities and put people at risk just to appease flat earthers.
The point is, they actually go horizontal. The space shuttle goes horizontal. It never goes any further up. It goes horizontal, very, very low down in the atmosphere. You know, it's still in the atmosphere while it's horizontal, so it never gets any higher. And it goes out of sight, not because it goes too high, because it goes too far downrange. And they have a plane that's mocked up to look like a space shuttle. It's a jet-powered aircraft. That's it. It's not a glider. It's an aircraft. And that's what they're fooling us, taking billions of dollars in and giving us images and fake planes for that 10 billion, however many billions of dollars it is. What goes up must come down, and literally we have not ever seen anything that has ever gone up and not come down.
Well, except for the satellites and the ISS, other than those things, yeah, what goes up does come back down. That's due to a force called gravity that flat earthers also deny exists. As for him saying the shuttles were just planes, well, I've been around planes for the last 33 years, and I've never come across one that looks anything remotely like a shuttle. I mean, it's not like I didn't go see the Discovery and have my picture taken in front of it, and then proceed to take a shit ton of pictures of it on my own. I gotta tell you, there is no way this thing could get off the ground other than attached to a couple of big-ass rockets. I recommend going to see them sometime if you ever get the chance. Check out the Smithsonian and you'll see the Discovery, Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo capsules. They also have the Enola Gay Baumgartner's capsule that flat earthers like to flaunt, and the motherfucking SR-71 Blackbird. Well, that's all I got for you for part 2. Check out part 3 in the series. If you like my videos, hit the subscribe button and check out the Teespring link below. Money from that's going to be used to buy things for the channel, like a drone, satellite tracker, and other stuff to do cool experiments and make better content for you guys. As always, feel free to leave a comment, whether good or bad. I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.